Hello, everybody. I hope everybody is safe and sound at home on this fine Saturday afternoon. In today's video, I will be talking about cryptocurrency in the broader general market and explain why this is a massive opportunity of two huge catalysts that we have never seen before within the crypto market that are about to collide in 2024. Now, I'm not talking anybody into investing into cryptocurrency. However, this is not financial advice. This is purely education and entertainment. But I think it would be prudent for you to do your own due diligence and do your own research to maybe, possibly, look into a small exposure when it comes to cryptocurrency because it looks like it's about to absolutely go parabolic in 2024. And I'm going to explain exactly why. For the interest of this video and simplicity, I will be talking about specifically Bitcoin, but Bitcoin means the general broader crypto market. Because you see, wherever Bitcoin, which is the head of cryptocurrency, leads, the rest of the altcoins follow. You might agree with me, you might disagree with me, but this is 100% a fact, Jack. And if you can't get that through your head, I can't really help you. You see, whether you are a lover or a hater of cryptocurrency, there is absolutely no mistaking that cryptocurrency is the number one asset class in terms of investment that you could possibly ever have invested in to make a return on your investment. If you don't believe me, look at the price of Bitcoin when it first came out in 2008. It was literally a fraction of a penny. And right now it's currently trading at around $27,000. That's a massive return of like 60 something million percent. It's absolutely astronomical if you do the math. It's absolutely absurd if you think about it. Although I can't say I ever foresee a return like that again, I do believe that there is still a multi-bagger out there for investing in Bitcoin and a multi 10x, 100x, and even more depending on what altcoin you invest in. The riskier the investment, the bigger the rewards, but also the bigger chances of your investment going to shit. Not all cryptocurrency is created equally. And I'm going to leave it up to you to figure out what cryptocurrency is or is not worth your time to research. But it is clear to see that cryptocurrency is here and on the absolute rise. The first major catalyst that we have is a Bitcoin ETF, a Bitcoin spot ETF, not a Bitcoin's future ETF. Now, a Bitcoin spot ETF or any spot ETF means that the underlying asset that the spot ETF has needs to buy that specific asset. The last time there was a spot ETF for gold, gold absolutely went parabolic. If you don't believe me, in 2004, with the spot ETF, the price of gold was $400. Gold shot up within that 12-month period to $480 to $500, making a 20 to 25% return. The next year, gold shot up to $630. After that, gold shot up to $800, followed by $1,000, followed by $1,100. So gold went from $400 to $1,100 in the course of 5 years. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is going to do significantly more, and I'm going to show you why in just a moment. Now that we establish what a spot Bitcoin ETF is and why it's important, let me go into some detail. The SEC, chaired by Gary Gensler, is 100% adamantly, for some reason, they have a vendetta when it comes to cryptocurrency. And nobody really understands why, including the politicians who absolutely grill the absolute living fuck out of Gary Gensler. For whatever reason, Gary Gensler denies all Bitcoin ETFs. One of those is the GBTC Bitcoin ETF. GBTC is a grayscale investment trust that essentially works like an ETF, but not exactly. But they essentially hold custody of cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin and others. But let's talk about Bitcoin and act like an ETF. There are some nuanced differences, but the price of the underlying asset to the price of shares cost in GBTC is not one-to-one. It fluctuates. So GBTC's Bitcoin ETF was thrown out for an arbitrary reason, saying that it's unsafe, some shit like that. Now, GBTC sued, and the appellate court, 3 judges, upheld the decision that says, hey, Gary Gensler, SEC, You gave us an arbitrary reason. You got to give us a specific reason why you denied a spot Bitcoin ETF after approving 2 future Bitcoin ETFs. Gary Gensler and the SEC had 45 days to fight this. Today, it came out that they are not going to appeal this, so now they actually have to review the spot Bitcoin ETF. Take a look at the news. This is the news article. The SEC won't appeal loss in Grayscale case, boosting the odds that GBTC can become a Bitcoin ETF. Bitcoin's price immediately shot up, and this literally came out yesterday, October 13th. Bitcoin is currently trading just sub 27,000. The SEC was rebuked by a court in August for how it rejected Grayscale's application to turn its Bitcoin trust into an ETF. The regulator won't appeal that loss, a person familiar with the matter said on Friday, boosting the odds that Grayscale Bitcoin Trust can be turned into a more appealing ETF. But they're not first in line, so stay tuned, and I want to show you a few things. So they're just talking about everything. So this is the actual quote. The Securities and Exchange Commission recently approved the trading of 2 Bitcoin futures funds on national exchanges, but denied approval of Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust. And they said that the reasoning is arbitrary and capricious rejection. The court said that the federal agencies are required to treat like cases alike. So there's like a discrimination when it comes to city agencies or government agencies that they have to treat similar things alike. And Gary Gensler is not treating a spot Bitcoin ETF alike like a futures Bitcoin ETF. And a futures Bitcoin ETF almost has very little to do with the actual price of Bitcoin, which makes it extremely risky and volatile, more so than a spot Bitcoin ETF. Now, this is super important because Gary Gensler is losing in court, not just this, XRP Ripple, and other little jabs currently. So one might say, well, GBTC is going to get their Bitcoin ETF. That's not a guarantee. And I honestly think that all the Bitcoin ETFs are going to be proved together. Now, when you have a spot ETF, you have 240 days total in review, and usually the SEC keeps pushing it down the road. The next up Bitcoin ETF is going to be from ARK Invest. The language that the SEC did not like and made comments about was that there's not a shared surveillance agreement. All the ETFs now change the language to put in this little line that says we will have a shared surveillance agreement, which allows the SEC to get information for safety. Essentially, all Bitcoin ETFs are going to be using Coinbase for custodial purposes. This is huge for the ticker symbol hashtag $COIN for Coinbase. I do hold Coinbase. Now, check this out. These are all the spot ETFs right now. There's a Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. There's an ARK 21 shares Bitcoin Trust. This is next in line right here. This is the one that's next in line right here. And I want to just point out a couple of very interesting ones. This is BlackRock Bitcoin ETF. And this is going to be the Fidelity Bitcoin ETF. So the next decision is going to be January 10th, 2024, which gives us October till November, November till December, December till January. 3 months, 1 quarter, that I believe after this we will get an approval for a Bitcoin spot ETF. Now, it's very important to understand. Fidelity is the 3rd largest assets under management. I believe Fidelity has, I want to say like 3 or 4 trillion. And BlackRock is the largest asset manager. They have $9 trillion under management. So let's just see what's going on here, okay? Currently, the price of Bitcoin is 27,000, let's call it. The market cap is $500 billion. Let's say, to make it really, really easy, let's just call this market cap 600 trillion, just to make my math easy. Let's say Bitcoin hits 30,000 and the market cap becomes 600 trillion by the time this catalyst starts. Between BlackRock's 9 trillion, between Fidelity's like 4 trillion, that's 13 trillion. between Grayscale, ARK, and all of these people right here, this is over $15 trillion, okay, on their asset managements. Most of the asset managers that hold Bitcoin or that are going to invest into Bitcoin, they advise their clients for diversification to at least have 1% of their portfolio into crypto. Not a big amount. However, 1% of 15 trillion is 150 billion. If the market cap of Bitcoin hits $600 billion, we're talking about 25% that's going to jump into Bitcoin. If 25% jumps into Bitcoin, what happened with gold, where it went up 20-25%, is going to be literally nothing. The price of Bitcoin should hit six figures. If it does or where it stops, nobody really knows. I figured that Bitcoin is going to hit a good $120,000 to $150,000, give or take. It's up to you to figure out what it means for you, or if it is, or what it will. I think this is going to be the weakest of the bull runs, but there's another massive catalyst that might just make this bull run absolutely epic. There's going to be something called a Bitcoin halving. If you guys don't know, when you mine a block of Bitcoin, okay, you get a reward. A block of Bitcoin is mined every 10 minutes. That reward that you get every 10 minutes in 2009 was 50, then it went to 25 in 2012, 12.5 in 2016, 6.25 right now, and it's about to be 3.75. Okay, so every 10 minutes, there's now going to be an extra 3.75 Bitcoin that's going to hit the market. When Bitcoin just started, this was at 50. Supply and demand. The total maximum amount of Bitcoin ever is going to be 21 million Bitcoin. If we know the maximum amount of Bitcoin and we know how much is going to hit the market, we know that the steady supply is going to hit the market at such and such date, at such and such amount. We can try to predict, based on our prediction of the gold market, which we know that around 5% of gold floods the market every year, which means gold depreciates by 5%, but it's stable because there's no like additional gold mines that came out of nowhere. Not to say that there can't, but there hasn't really been any massive gold mines where additional gold can just be, coming out of nowhere. Because Bitcoin is going to become more scarce, the value of Bitcoin is going to go up. Last couple of halvings, Bitcoin shot up during the halving. But now you have the Bitcoin spot ETF, and now you have the halving. I think a Bitcoin spot ETF is going to propel Bitcoin to the stratosphere more than even the halving. But that plus the halving together might get us from where we are right here, a nice multi-bagger. For all intents and purposes, unless Bitcoin is no longer going to be here, unless crypto is completely outlawed, which it doesn't seem like it's going to happen, and we got absolutely beat the fuck up by all of the news with FTX, Three Arrows Capital, Voyager, every single thing under the sun hit cryptocurrency, hacks, so on and so forth, of exchanges, things like that, of apps, but not like Bitcoin, of crypto. Because we're still here and we're actually thriving, we're not doing so bad at right around that 27,000 mark, if you think about it, especially with a recession, especially with the wars, especially with inflation, so on and so forth. Bitcoin is not leaving. And if Bitcoin is not leaving, I do believe that we're very close to a bottom. And I honestly think we already hit the bottom, which was 16,000. We recovered really nicely. We shot up from around 18,000, by the way. We were like inching. 18 shot all the way up to around 25,000. 25,000 hit around 31,000. And we're right now at around that 27,000 mark. Whether everything that I'm saying right now makes sense to you or not, I highly suggest that you do your own research. If everything that I'm saying to you does make sense, fantastic. I highly suggest you do even more research. In my mind, from a traditional finance standpoint, it just makes sense. Supply and demand. Anybody that knows about supply and demand will understand this. Anybody that knows about gold will understand this. If this doesn't make sense to you, really sit down and figure it out. And if it's complete bullshit, then, don't listen. It's fine. But I'm going to put this video on both of my channels, my crypto channel and my regular channel. Hopefully this helps a couple of people understand the massive catalyst that's about to happen. And hopefully I'm right and I'm going to make a lot of money. Besides for Bitcoin, I have a lot of Bitcoin. I have a lot of Ethereum. I absolutely love Algorand. I absolutely love Hedera H-bar. And I really like Quant project. There, of course, are others, but those are probably the projects that I love the absolute most. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Algorand, Hedera, and Quant. What you guys do is up to you. But all I care about is give me a like, give me a share, give me a subscribe, give me a comment. And if you don't like me, I don't give a shit. Thank you, and have a great weekend.